we find the point of the absolute west and the point of the absolute east governed, in inverted commas, by two divine creatures who actually come from the same source. And the fact that Ulysses wants to leave again from Ogygia to go back to Ithaca doesn't exclude the necessity for him to go further west, because he wants to question the souls of the dead, and so he has to travel down the river Oceanus, that in the old times was considered to be the river running all around the flat earth, because at that time people didn't think that earth was actually a sphere. So he has to go west and to go through the land of a people, the Cimmerians, the Cimmeri, who always live in darkness and mist, never see the sun of the light. And there is an interpretation that has been proposed by an Italian researcher, Felice Vinci, who actually thinks that the Iliad and the Odyssey and all the stories included in these poems may have an origin in the Scandinavian worlds. He thinks that these traditions might have come down with Doric invasion from the north, and that in truth Troy and all the other places of Homer's fantasy might have been, and he actually finds them in his researches, in different places, starting from the Hebrides Islands, Norway, Sweden, and so on. Of course, many people disagree with this interpretation, but in my own analysis that proceeds considering archetypes and sensations, what is true is that we can find an absolute, an ideal north in this ideal west. And this ideal north is the immediate and almost freezing contact with nature. That is an experience of feeling lost, the experience that we were talking about before when we spoke about the mountain climbing activities, where you find yourself confronted with a nature that can't be controlled and that might destroy you at any moment. That's the north, the absolute north. And we find it also in the Lord of the Rings. We find this absolute north in the wild lands of the old, now disappeared, kingdom of Arnor, where Aragorn, the Strider, still the Strider, roams with other men and warriors like him. We still see him in that part of Middle-earth in the first book of the trilogy. And we find an absolute west when we go to the final harbor from which all elves leave Middle-earth to go to the west, Grey Haven, I think it's in the English version, I Rifugio Oscuri, because we get this feeling of loss, we get this feeling of departing from something, from what is certain, to let go to the flow of being, I would say, rather than of nature. In fact, Frodo himself, after a while, we read in the last lines of the Lord of the Rings, starts seeing a sort of mist, a subtle mist, that, like a curtain, progressively reveals a green land that has the taste of the eternal. So his travel to the west is a sort of ritual passage from life to afterlife. It is as if death became a transparent substance, a transparent diaphragm between these two realities. The whole point is we are always in touch with the eternal, even when while we are mortal. That means while we are alive. It is just the point. The point is just piercing, or anyway going through this curtain of appearance that is what Schopenhauer called the Velo di Maya.
The Veil of Maya.
The Veil of Maya. That's the point. And we find it. We find all this background in Tolkien refiltered, reinterpreted into a new creation.